Now let's have a look at the rectangle tool or your box tool. So what I'm going to do is I will click on it. Again, if you hold your mouse over the tool itself, it will tell you what the tool is and then the hotkey for that. So that will be F6. And just a reminder, if you always look at any of your tools, look at the hotkey method and you may find it useful instead of always manually going up here just to click on your hotkey. The rectangle tool does have a little flyout and it allows us to create a 3-point rectangle. We'll talk about that one later. So let's just first of all look at the rectangle tool. Click and drag and we can now determine how big or whatever shape you want for your rectangle. It's pretty simple and pretty straightforward. So clicking and dragging will get you your rectangle. I'm going to just double click on my pick tool, select all my objects, and then I'll hit the delete key. I want to make a now perfect square. So I'll make sure the tool is activated. Now here's the big difference. Hold down the control key, then click and drag. And if you look at my property box, you can see that we have a perfect square. If I want to change the size of my square, and if I want to go to 6 inches, it will be a perfect square. If you look in your property box and you'll see this is our non-proportionate scale. If I unlock it, if I type in a value, it will change the shape. So locking your scale or unlocking will either proportionately scale it or you can enter your own values. So if I go back to 6, I will lock it, and it doesn't matter if you're going to go horizontal type it in or vertical. All you have to do is just type in a value and it will scale it. Here's a little something neat, and I don't know if it's a trick, but if you have your object off the page and you want to center to the page, just hit the letter P and you notice it's centered to the page. So if you want a quick centering method, just hit the letter P. Now let's see what happens when we use the shape tool on a preset of the rectangle tool. I'm going to click and drag on a handle, or the node, I'm sorry, and you notice that we can actually round the corners off. So if you want to round the corners off a box or anything else like that, just go to the shape tool, click and drag, and we can literally round it up. Or you can type in a value that you want to round it off to. So we can actually change those presets. Now, if I want to modify this shape, what we're going to do, and remove all these presets, what we can do is go to Arrange, Convert to Curves. Now if I'm still in the shape tool and I click and drag, you notice that we can go in and actually change that shape. Using the Convert to Curves over any object that's been created with Corel will allow us to modify and change that shape. So again, with your rectangle, going to the shape tool, notice that we can round off the corners, and if I decide I don't want that, I can go to Range, Convert to Curves, and move this up or around. Let's have a look at the next tool and our 3-point rectangle. All you do is click and drag the area that you want it to be, and you'll notice that it will create a rectangle in that direction. I don't know if I use this tool quite often. I tend to just use a rectangle and then rotate it around. So that's again, a tool that you may decide to use for whatever function or what you're planning to draw. There's another little thing in here. I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, but I'm just going to do a Convert to Curves on here, and I will just make this shape a little different. If you notice, when you're always in the property bars, you have these two little icons, and these are our mirror buttons. So I can mirror this horizontal and flip it over. All the tool functions, depending on the object, will maybe allow us to mirror it. And you notice over here we can change our outline. Can't see the outline right now because it's fairly small, so if I bump it up, you notice that there's an outline. So always look at the properties bar when you're working with CorelDRAW. So we'll take a next look at is the ellipse tool.